How to go from single family home rentals to 10 to 30 unit apartment complexes without millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Justin Brennan, multifamily investor with nearly 1,200 units and 185 plus million in assets. I'm going to break this down for you. If you're in the single family arena, how do you move to the multifamily arena? So what if I told you that the single family home you're thinking about buying or you have now isn't the finish line, it's really your springboard? What if that house could be your ticket to buying 10 to 30 unit apartment buildings this year or next, and doing it with little to none of your own money? Now, a lot of times this sounds like a stretch for most people because it seems complicated, right? You're thinking the banks, agents, even your parents, they're all telling you the same thing. Start small, play it safe. Someday, maybe, right? You'll scale. But I'm here to tell you that that's outdated thinking, right? You don't need 30 years to build serious wealth. You just need the right strategy. So today I'm going to go ahead and pull back the curtain on the exact framework that savvy investors and I've used to go from right where you're at, maybe a condo, single family rental, into the multifamily portfolio. So I call it the single family trap. So let's be honest, for most people, their real estate journey starts with single family rentals. It feels safer, it's familiar. But in reality, it's really a trap. You save 30, 40, 50, maybe $100,000 or more, you're buying one house, right? You're getting it to cash flow, maybe a few $100s a month if you're lucky. That's not financial freedom. That's barely gas money. And at that rate, you'll need 20 plus homes just to walk away from your W-2. But even if you wanted to scale, the banks won't let you. Most lenders cap it, right? 5 to 10 properties and loans. And let's talk about the headaches. Even a broken water heater, one tenant moves out, right? It's all on you. One vacancy, you go from 100% occupied to zero. It's all the risk without a lot of the leverage. This is why most investors, they burn out. They build slow, they get stuck, and eventually they stop. I would say that your first home, your single family or condo, whatever it is, it's a lever. It's not the goal. Now here's the shift for you. Don't see the first property as that goal. See it as a leverage. The key, you're not holding that property for cash flow. You're holding it also for two other things. Equity, right? Whether that's appreciation, whether it's forced or through renovation. You're also holding it for credibility. You're building a bit of a track record as an operator. You're showing potential lenders and partners, hey, I can find deals, I can manage them, I can execute, and that's what makes you bankable. So let's break down the blueprint, how you leap from right where you're at, single family arena, into the multifamily, and let's talk some tactics. I have a few strategies and tips that I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Then I'm going to give you some case studies as well. Let's go. All right, so I'm pulling up here. I'm showing you really single family to multifamily and that transition and how you would do this. Couple options. Let's presume you actually have a rental property right now. So there's two ways to pull the cash out of that. You can either one, do a cash out refinance and move that money, keeping and holding that property and moving that money and moving it into multifamily. I'm going to show you that. Number two, you could sell the property. But if you do sell a property, you want to always sell properties in Q1 of the year. Here's the reason why. It's going to give you 3 more quarters to go find another deal. And then especially if you're doing it in the commercial space and using that benefit of tax avoidance through what's called cost segregation and bonus depreciation. Now the capital gains that you're getting by selling that single family property, that capital gains event, you're going to be able to wipe that out if you do this correctly and move it into a commercial asset and use these strategies and tips that I'm going to show you. Okay. So those are the two ways that you can make this happen. If you own a property right now and you're looking to transition, you either do a cash out refinance, pull the equity out and move it, or you sell that property and move that equity as well. But you want to sell it in Q1, right? So cash out refinance or Q1 sell. So let me show you kind of my trajectory and how I did this. We started with one condo, literally $100,000 right in the midst of the financial crisis in 2010. If I knew then what I know now, I probably would have never gone through these steps. I would have gone straight for a 10-unit multifamily, knowing that number one, it's easier to finance. It's still mom and pop and small enough. You can take it down. The banks, because it's more mom and pop-ish, they're not looking for you to be some crazy resume. They just need to make sure the property financially pencils. And it's easier to getting a loan on a 10-unit multifamily than it is a single-family house, believe it or not. And that's because of the DSCR and it's its own operating business. Okay. So started in 2010 with one condo, $100,000. Then from there, we actually accumulated about 20 units, $3.5 million in assets. And that was in duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, about 5 properties or so. And that was by about 2018. Now, if I could have fast tracked all that and give you like my brain now, if you're in the middle of this, I would have said, no, I would have nixed this process, maybe done that first rental property. Cool, fine. But then from there, once you understand this game of OPM, OPM, other people's money, and how you, conjunction with some of your money, can go and get into a property, a multifamily, control it and run it, and get a majority by bringing in limited amount of the capital and then leveraging other people's money along with you who want to invest in real estate. You just need to provide them a good deal to invest in that has good returns for them. And you be a trusted resource where you're not going to be running off, putting them on some American greed show and stealing their money, right? Just be trustworthy. But that'll happen. So fast forward there, and here we are by 2021. Literally, you see the distance between 2018 and 2021. We go from 20 units and $3.5 million to 1,200 units and $185 million. Think about this for a minute. In those 20 units, 5 properties and $3.5 million, we had 100% of that. And that's all nice. That's dandy. But the problem is it's limited and all our capital's in there. And because, like I said, because they're more single family rentals, we're capped at what we can do. And all our money's stuck there. We can't move it. It makes it tough to scale and grow. And once we realize, oh gosh, we could take some of the money from these things, move it and scale it. And then by having maybe 40% of the asset, but now it's 40% of 185 million. You do the math. 100% of 3.5 or 40% of 185 plus, right? It does everything for you. And you're just understanding the leverage of money and scaling money. So let me go and show you exactly how. So let's presume at this point, you're going to either, let's say you're going to do what we did, and that is we cash out refied. So we pulled some leverage out of that, of some of our properties here, and we moved it into the multifamily, about 600 grand. Okay, around 600 grand, we moved that and then put it into multifamily. And I want to show you how this worked. So similar, I'm going to give you an example of Brian. Okay, this is a perfect example of Brian, normal dude, probably just like you, has a dog walking business. His first deal, first deal was a 22 unit in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is how this deal broke down, right? $1.8 million purchase price, $100,000 in closing cost. $200,000 in renovations. They were going to improve the property. Total all in, $2.1 million all in cost. Now he went out, he got a loan for $1,470,000. Now getting that loan was easier than getting a house loan. Why? Because the bank was looking at the property's financials to substantiate the payment, not you. Much different. It's a DSCR loan, much different, okay? The equity. Now most people would stop right here. They'd think, dude, I don't have $630,000. I know you don't. Neither did we. This is where the game of OPM plays in. This deal is returning 18 to 20% a year for his investors. Anybody interested in that deal? 18 to 20% a year on their money. If I came to you and I said, hey, I have a 22 unit deal, projected returns are 18 to 22% a year on your money. Here's the data and the information to back that up. Who do you know that may have some interest? Your response to me may be, yeah, I may, or I know somebody. Can you send me over some information? And I'm going to send that over to you. And then we're going to go through it. We're going to answer some of your questions. And then you'll decide whether or not. But that's how that process works. The deal drives the money. It attracts it in. Okay, don't focus on the money. Focus on the deal. So moving forward, that equity, this is how that comes in. This is how Brian literally brings in 10% of that down payment, right? He brings in 63 grand, 10% of the 630,000, 10% of the 630,000. 63 grand is what he brings out of pocket. Now he goes out with about 5 to 7 other people, and that's called OPM, other people's money, and he brings together the 567,000. That's 90% of the money comes from other people's money. Okay. Now what's cool, because Brian is now what's considered a general partner, right? He's the sponsor, general partner, syndicator, whatever language you want to use. It's the same thing. He also gets these other fees that are built into these things. One of them is what's called an acquisition fee. So literally within 7 days of closing the escrow, right? 63,000 goes into the deal. The day he closes, within a week after, what's called an acquisition fee. In this case, I believe it was 2%. Yep, which was $36,000. Okay, so 63 goes in, 36 comes back out, and that's all covered in this closing cost number up here. Okay, it's all built into the total cost of the deal. Now he's really only out of pocket $27,000, and he has control of a 22-unit, multi-million-dollar deal in the Midwest. Think about this for a minute. That's 63 grand. You would have put that into a condo, single family, maybe a duplex, maybe even more than that. And then for you to not get any fee structures on top of that, he's only out of pocket 27 grand and has control and ownership of a multi-million-dollar asset. You see how this game works? And that's just the beginning. Let's keep going. So now Brian has the deal. He owns it. with other partners. He's running it, controlling it. He's calling the shots. He has 100% control and decision-making power over it, okay? So he gets an acquisition fee of $36,000. He gets also what's called an asset management fee for managing the managers. You're going to have a third-party property manager that's going to be hired, okay? And you're going to manage that manager. That's all that process is. You're getting paid to do that. 1% of the revenue per month. He's also going to get $70,000 in tax benefits. That's what I was telling you, right? You want to sell Q1 of the previous property if you're going to do that. Move into this type of an asset, do what's called cost segregation, bonus depreciation. That's going to give you a paper loss. In his case, it's almost over a 1-to-1 on his money. He gets a $70,000 loss on paper to come through to offset the gains that he had on other things. Wiping out income tax. That's the name of the game. 40% of the cash flows. That's $2,800 a month for him. 40% of all the profits on the deal. That was $350,000. He also got what's called a construction management fee that was built into the renovation costs for them renovating and improving the property. 8% paid monthly. All these other fees that are built into it. So now he's set to make $168,000 in cash flow. In addition, $350,000 in profits for $27,000 out of pocket. Now, you tell me where else you can pull that one off, guys. This is not unique. This is happening all the time. People in our community, people not in our community, people just doing this. This is how it works. This is how our first deal went down. Very similar, okay? So that is how this process works. So in summary, kind of breaking this down, 22-unit, multi-million-dollar asset. He invests $63,000. He has $27,000 out of pocket. He has 100% control, huge tax write-offs. He's set to make 37% a year on his money as the general partner. That's $168,000 in cash flow and $350,000 in profits. And that is how you do it. And that is how you can literally move from a single family where you're at today, either cash out, refi, and move that money. Because think about it, you had $63,000. Can you pull out $63,000 out of your current property? Or can you sell it and take that gain and move it, $63,000 into it? Here you go. This is how you do it. So if you want more information, watch some of the other videos I have herein. You can actually I have a 5-step process on how you find, analyze, raise capital, structure, close, and manage apartment buildings. It's 5 separate videos broken down for each topic. You can click on the ones herein right now, and you can watch that set. Pretty amazing videos. So I really appreciate your time. If you have any other questions, love for you to like, subscribe, comment herein, please. Once you do the comments in here, it's going to leave me other ideas to bring to you, questions you may have. And it's really important that you share and like and subscribe to this so that way other people just like you can learn this. And YouTube, the algorithm will push it and allow people to learn just like you are here. If this was valuable and you found it important for you, I'd really, really, really appreciate your help. So take care and happy investing.